at that time I was skipping a lot of school just so that I could, show up and work part full time to just make sure that I had money to survive. And because I was skipping a lot of schools, I got kicked out of my first school. Shout out to Don Mills Collegiate. And then
these are like real Scarborough stories, bro. These are like the Scarborough stories you hear about, but you don't really ever hear about them.
They exist. They're through me.
Wow.
So I got kicked out of my first high school, Don Mills Collegiate. And I also was like a rowdy kid. Like, I played a lot of sports through high school, which was amazing. Fun fact, I failed English 3 times. So it's like a miracle that I even do this for a living. Right. And then got kicked out of my second school, Victoria Park Collegiate as well.
You had to do a little tour, you wanted to see a little bit of all of them.
Grand tour.
Yeah, you got to see what you like.
Yes. I had to figure out like, where can I be baddest at? You know what I'm saying?
Welcome to Growth Untold, the podcast, where we dive into thoughtful conversations and insightful discussions with world-class people, all with the aim of inspiring, educating, and empowering our listeners.
We are thrilled to have you here with us on this exciting journey to explore the diverse stories and the ideas that have the power to shape the world for the better.
Welcome to Growth Untold, the podcast. Our guest today made history as the first Black woman to anchor TSN's flagship show, SportsCenter. Since then, she's continued to break barriers as the host and co-executive producer of The Shift, a show that delves into the intersection of sports, culture, and identity. Beyond her on-screen presence, she is a vocal advocate for equity and representation in media. Her commitment to authenticity and inclusivity has made her a leading voice in Canadian sports journalism. In this episode, we discuss her career journey, her approach to storytelling, and her vision for a more inclusive media landscape. Welcome, Kayla Grey. Kayla Grey.
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
What's up? Thanks for coming
just
on.
A nice gloomy gray day in Toronto.
I know. This is my second day back. I landed yesterday.
Oh, so you're escaping too. Where were you coming from?
Vegas.
Oh.
Where it's nice and sunny all
Not
the
too
time.
shabby.
Yeah, Alex was there just last week for my bachelor
So you're
party.
also escaping.
Yeah. Well, no,
Escaping
I'm
back.
Toronto-based, but I was visiting Vegas for Mina's bachelor party.
And how was it?
It was good. I live there, so it was great. And Alex was there visiting. So
Okay.
because as you know,
we won't unpack that further because the looks that y'all just gave each other. Damn, what happened to Vegas?
honestly,
Nothing happened.
it was honestly very tame.
Very tame.
It was so tame.
She doesn't
sure.
believe us.
Okay, guys. Yeah.
She doesn't believe it. Well,
I'm
we'll
just
leave
playing. I'm sure it was amazing.
Yeah, it was great. It was great because like I told you, Alex and I have known each other for a long time. So yeah, I want to know a little bit about your childhood and upbringing.
Lord, the unpacking begins. So born and raised here in Toronto, Scarborough.
Wow.
Daughter of a single immigrant mom from Jamaica. Shout out to Elaine Gray. She truly is the greatest. We love that woman.
And did she immigrate by herself?
No,
originally?
so my grandma came to Canada first, and
Okay.
she became a nanny for this family. And then when my mom came over, she was around 14, 15, and she went to high school here, college here, and planted her roots here as well. And now she's retired and building a house back in Jamaica where she spends a lot of her time.
Wow.
It's just funny that it's like you do all that to come here just to go back home. But I think that's a beautiful, like, full circle moment for her. But yeah, she worked a lot. And so I spent a lot of time with my grandparents growing up, which was honestly the best experience ever. And it really led me to sports because my grandfather and I loved wrestling. Like back when it was like WWF, but now it's WWE.
Yeah.
Like Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero,
Mysterio,
Hardy Brothers.
but also you go back and you're like, wow, that storytelling was problematic AF. Like, what do you mean the pregnant women were getting like choke slammed on the mat, right? Like, and we just thought that was all okay. Like, it was just, wow, that was the time that we went through. You really had to have been there. But it was like that made up our Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays, because it used to spread over 3 days.
Yeah.
And then the Blue Jays was all my grandma would watch. She was a little bit more tamed. And, you know, I always say, like, she would watch those games on mute, and my grandfather would listen to the games on the radio at the same time. Yeah, they used to do this back in the day. Yes, they used to do this back in the day, just because he just preferred the call there. And I absolutely fell in love with the idea of storytelling in sport, because for radio, it's like you have to fill in so many pictures that an audience might not have the TV in front of them to see. And I was just like, this is just so cool. But then also I'm just like, this is just so cool that like this team is so trash, because this was after, you know, the glory days. I was born in 93. I wasn't around for the 93 years, but and just being able to engage an audience around a team that was like, meh, you know, and went through these those like silver jersey, that phase was, anyways.
But it's like a whole country gets behind it.
Right? And truly it's through the lens of the storytellers that are in place, and of course the games, but I was just very much intrigued. And so that was like, I think the seed that was like planted into me. I was like, I don't know how, but I just know I'm going to do that one day. Damn. And
so you knew from a very young age.
I can't explain it, but I just always knew I was going to be doing what I'm doing now. I just always knew. And what's so interesting, but I also think special about my story, is the path was not linear. I grew up and I lost my way quite a bit in high school. At the time, I didn't know how to name depression and severe depression at that point. So I was, you know, doing things like acting out, and it got so bad to a point where I had to live on my own at 15. And so when you're living on your own at 15, I was like couch surfing my like teenage
And what do you
house.
mean you had to? Like, what happened that you...
I think, and you know, my mom and I unpack this. It's, and now that I'm a mom, you understand that you're also going through things for the first time too. And sometimes there's things that you can fix, and sometimes there's things that you can't. And I don't think my mom had the right tools to navigate what I was going through as a teenager. And so it kind of led to a lot of conflict and tension. And I think it was just for everybody's best interest for us to separate at the time. And I think that people might judge that and judge my mom and whatnot. But I think, again, becoming a mom, you truly realize like how new to this everybody is. And when you're only given enough information, enough tools, and enough options, sometimes you make decisions. And for me, like, I don't think I would have my life play out any other way because of the skills that I have now. Like, I'm not scared of anything because of what I've gone through as a teenager. Nothing scares me.
So when you lived on your own at 15, like, where'd you go?
Well, I was asking my friends at high school to sleep on their couches after school. And, you know, I was very lucky that I did have some really good friends that let me do that. One friend let me stay there for a few months. And then eventually I found a home in my friend's house in his basement for like a couple years at a time, but still.
And they didn't ask for you to pay or anything?
Didn't ask for me to pay, nothing.
Wow.
You know, and obviously I had to like make ends meet for myself, like buying food and lunch. And like there was a time where I only could afford $1.85 like a day. Like that was my lifestyle. And so with that $1.85, I would buy for $1.35 the Tim Hortons muffins with the chocolate chips in them. And that I would like split it in half and have the first half like in the morning and then have the second half for dinner. And that would just be like my day. Yeah. But, you know,
where'd the other 50 cents go?
I just saving it, just trying to like save it. Right. And so, yeah, like it was a wild struggle. But then eventually like I would find work, like I, you know, worked at like Mex and like all these different places. And, at that time I was skipping a lot of school just so that I could, you know, show up and work part full time to just make sure that I had money to survive. And because I was skipping a lot of schools, I got kicked out of my first school. Shout out to Don Mills Collegiate. And then...
Yo, these are like real Scarborough stories, bro. These are like the Scarborough stories you hear about, but you don't really ever hear about them.
They exist. They're through me. Yeah, so I got kicked out of my first high school, Don Mills Collegiate. And I also was like a rowdy kid. Like, I played a lot of sports through high school, which was amazing. Fun fact, I failed English 3 times. So it's like a miracle that I even do this for a living. Right. And then got kicked out of my second school, Victoria Park Collegiate as well.
You had to do a little tour, you wanted to see a little bit of all of them.
Grand tour.
Yeah, you got to see what you like.
Yes, I have to figure out like where can I be baddest at? You know what I'm saying? No, but no, those were, I think, those are my scar stories.
You finished high school.
I finished high school by going to Calc, which is actually an adult learning center.
Okay.
And so like I had graduated high school, but my marks were nowhere close enough to get into any type of post-secondary. And, through going through kind of what I went through, I also ended up in a really like crazy abusive relationship. And so that kind of deterred my education. But then through Calc, I was able to get it back. And I was so grateful they had a domestic violence survivors program after school. So in so many ways, I was able to get my education and be loved on through these incredible teachers that, understood that like humans are humans and people just go through it. But then also have another program that rebuilt my confidence and gave me great resources to deal with the other side of growing up and navigating things as well. And then, applied to different schools, got in, and then ended up at College of Sports Media, which was a 2-year program because I'm like, listen, if there's one thing I learned through this journey is that I'm not built for this little 4-year program situation. Like, nah. Got my ish back together through there. And I think it was at like 18, through a relationship my mom had with Michael Pimble Clemens, started off as an intern for the Toronto Argonauts. And this was like back when they played at Skydome. I'm going to call it Skydome. But yeah, that sort of was like my in. Like I guess I could say I got it through the mud. Yeah.
But when did you finish the college program?
College I had finished around 2021.
Okay, so you got into the Argonauts.
Like when normal time you would finish college.
So you got into the Argonauts while you were still doing college.
Still doing
you kind of did both.
Yeah. Like through college, I was doing a lot. Like,
so your mom came through for you.
My mom did come through. Yeah, she totally did. And like, imagine you go through all that. You're kicked out of your schooling. You kind of get your life back on track, and you're like, Mom, I know my track record isn't that cute, but like, I think I really want to see this dream through of like being a sports broadcaster. And she was like, all right, girl, let's do it. And it was just like off from there. Like we just went through it. I did the internship with the Argos. And then the second year, it's funny, I started to send out this little demo tape of me at the desk at College of Sports Media. And I sent it to someone who was at TSN at the time. And I actually went in for an audition. And I was so green. The answer at first was a no. This is why I always like to say, like, that first no, don't, like, who cares? Like, what's a no? No is just redirection. And yeah, it really changed my life because I was able to go small market. I lived in Winnipeg. I went to Prince Rupert. I made mistakes out there, and then came back. And then, boom, eventually she was back at TSN on air and probably one of the faces of their network.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That was such a long-winded answer. I gotta tighten those up.
No, girl.
That was good. That was amazing.
Yeah, I'm seeing some similarities here between. So my mom and dad are from Trinidad and Tobago.
Mm-hmm.
They grew up in Trinidad and Tobago. I've always wanted to work in sports ever since we were little kids. He wanted to be an actor. He had an email called Famous Actor Forever. And so that shit would never expire.
Claim it.
Bro, stop telling people my email.
But he'd own that.
4 with a 4, by the way.
Yeah, right. And I struggled through high school too, not to that extent. I was more of an introvert. He was more of an extrovert. I feel like we kind of like switched as we got older. But finding your way and breaking into that, I think we need to speak about that just a little bit more, especially as like the first Black woman who's like cementing herself in the media landscape, which is predominantly
white, male.
Correct. And so I want to hear your take, your experience getting into it, breaking into the industry.
Yeah, I think when you go through life the way that I've gone through life, it really armors you into a place that's like not a real place, guys. Like I love it. It's incredible. It's all of the things. But when you've like gone through some stuff, you realize like, that's really like not that serious. And I think I had to go back to that because when I made my debut on SportsCenter, I was also like 8.5 months pregnant. So I was just like, damn, like wow. It's his face for me. It was like, whoa.
That's when people are taking time off.
That's when people are taking time off. But that was my timing. And that was my moment and that was my opportunity. And I was not going to say no to that because I had put in so many years to like get what I wanted. And I just remember sitting there and being like hearing them count me in of like 10 to show, 9. And I was just like, girl, if you're ever going to find your confidence, you're going to have to find it like in 5 seconds and just say F it and do it. And you're going to not be 100% at it the first time that you do it. And that's the best part of it all is that you get to do this again at some point and you're going to do it again and you're going to get better and you're going to get stronger at this. And it was, lights, camera, action from there. And you go through it and it's such a thrill and you're in the middle of it and you're like, wait a second, I'm talking about sports for a living. And you're like, wait a second, I'm talking about sports for a living. And then your confidence just like builds and goes. But I think truly why I've been able to show up the way that I have on television and be myself is just really relying on the fact that like I know who I am. I know where I come from. I'm proud of where I come from. And I think my biggest flex is that what you see is what you get with me. Like I'm the same person off air and on air. If I don't mess with something, you know it. I would say it on air and off air. And that to me is authenticity. And I think that audiences aren't stupid. They're not dumb. They recognize that. And I think that that's what's been able to allow them to resonate with me is like, when you come to me on any platform, you're just going to get the real, the good and the bad. And, at first I really wanted to sound like this broadcaster and this and that, but that's not who I am. And that's not actually like any of my experiences that I've gone through that has built me in that way. I was not born in a space that would have grown me to be that person. And then you really find, like I'm huge on energy. When you're faking something or faking who you are, that takes so much energy. Just flowing through like who you are truly, like that just comes with this level of like ease. I rather live a life of ease as opposed to trying to fake the funk so that other people can find me more palatable. Like,
did you say fake the funk?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
right?
like you just why fake the funk? They're gonna clock you at some point anyways. Like, you know what I mean? And so I just feel like I'm okay with who I am. I'm okay with where I've come from. I'm not ashamed of my background. I'm not ashamed of the crap that I've been through. And the thing that I think people in this industry have to get over their head first is people are not going to like you. Like once you accept that out of the gate first, which is really hard because I think also too, you are, first gen Canadians. You want to be one, not noticed as first gen and other, but then also you want to be liked by everyone so that they're not looking at you like you crazy. There's just something in there that,
what I had to get used to really quickly when you become a public figure is you have to accept that, like what you said, I would change it a little bit, but it's not everyone's going to like you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, that's impossible. It's
impossible.
Literally an impossibility. There's always going to be people that don't like you. There's going to be people that voice it, people that don't voice it, people that talk smack behind your back. Mm-hmm. That just comes with really any human being. But when you're a public figure, it's accentuated because you see all of it and you read all of it.
And there's like a level of entitlement that people kind of possess to let you know that they do not like you.
Yeah.
Like that N-word was flying when I was making my debut on SportsCenter. Oh my God, of course. And it's
when was this? What year?
This would have been 2018. Hello, they had not seen people up on like that look like us on their screens for a very, very, very long time, let alone giving them their hockey highlights. Like, I would be shook and stunned too if I was John in Saskatchewan being like, who the hell is this black girl up on my screen?
Did you say John from Saskatchewan?
Yeah, like it's fine. I love the Johns and I love just Saskatchewan, but like it is what it is.
Of course.
And that's the thing is it's like, yes, people are going to look at you and they're not going to mess with who you are sometimes. And that's fine. I think it's a problem if everybody likes you. I truly do. If everybody likes you, you're not authentic to me, because I do think that like people have nuance and people are different. I think what I strive to be is a good person. Is a good person, you know? And I think that I would like everyone to say that about me, as like, you know what, I might not mess with her ethos or what she stands for, or I might not understand what she's talking about, but I know that's a good person that cares about something. Yeah. That's like my ultimate goal. But I think, yeah, to back up that point, getting good with the fact that not everybody is going to like you and you are not for everyone releases you into this level of freedom to just exist as you are and be as you are and make mistakes as they come. Because I would be so afraid to make mistakes. And I think that's what comes with being an only in the space, is like, you have to present perfect. And if you make one mistake, they're going to fire you and be like, see, I told you that's why we don't have them on our televisions in the first place. It's this like responsibility that you shoulder that really doesn't belong to you. That story should not even belong to you in the first place. And so you really have to like let that go. And
building off of that, I feel like even if you don't vibe with somebody, even if you don't like anybody, I feel like at least you have a little bit of respect for that person, for having their values, for standing that ground, right? Which is a nice segue into, we've seen some of the incredible interviews that you've done. You've had some intimate interviews with DeMar DeRozan, opening up about the trade, about talking about the Toronto Temple, being a field-side reporter, covering the most important and pivotal moments of the Raptors. Like, what would you say has allowed you to get into those spaces? Is it this authenticity? Is it being yourself that people feel more comfortable in your presence?
Yeah, I think it's the R word that you said first. It's respect. I think people, I come in there respecting what they have built, what athletes have built, what management has built. No matter what, I'm like, I know what this effort looks like. And I might not know exactly what it looks like, but I respect what you're building and what you're standing for and what this might mean for you. And I think when you come in with that respect, and how you show that respect is, are you well prepared with the questions that you're asking? Did you do your research? Are you watching the game? Are you following the game? I think to me, like, the biggest sign of disrespect with having an interview subject is not coming prepared. That to me is like the ultimate sign of disrespect. You just didn't even care to like even hop on a Google to even try to get to know those parts of me. And then I think when I show up like that, there's that reciprocated respect of like, okay, she cares about this. And so I'm a care in how I show up in these interviews. But I also say, you know, people are like, oh my God, you made your debut 8.5 months pregnant. Like, my career changed the moment my son came into my life. And, you know, I think I was so scared. I thought my career would be over the minute that I had my kid. Because for so long, everyone tells you, especially as a woman, you can only have one or the other. You're not allowed to have both. You got to choose. I thought my career was over the minute I had my kid. My career was truly just getting started. And the reason why I say that is it gave me context. It showed me what actually matters. It showed me how this can get messy and how things aren't going to be perfect and what sacrifice looks like and what crazy hormones look and feel like too. And it's like all of those life things that actually helped me find new ends with the people that I was sitting across from. I can relate with DeMar because he's a dad, and like our kids might be at the same stages of life and we're riffing about like, yo, this is crazy, man. They're talking back. What are we doing? You know, and it's just like, that's an opening, right? Or, you know, I remember doing an interview with Lewis Hamilton and talking to him about how I got kicked out of school. He also got kicked out of school. You know what I mean? Like, there's those little moments of ends of like, bro, we are all just human trying to navigate this thing. And it wasn't cute and it wasn't pretty, but it's like when you find those moments of like, me too, it's like, we're still freaking here. Like, and it's literally just like that simple. And I think that that's why I'm able to just get those types of conversations and to get those types of, I guess, secrets or things that people wouldn't necessarily talk about. Is I truly believe my purpose on this earth is to invite a level of vulnerability to show that that's truly the strongest thing that you're ever going to have is your vulnerability.
So what would be what's one interview that has really stuck out for you over the years? And you've interviewed some amazing people. You just mentioned a couple, but one that really stuck out to you.
I think my favorite interview that I've done was with a gentleman, Mike Kabongo, who's actually someone I'm really close with. So we actually went to church together when we were like 12, stayed friends, all the things. So a bit of backdrop of Mike Kabongo was, he was supposed to be the guy. He came at a time with like Corey Joseph, Tristan Thompson. They all went to Texas to play. And
they were all at Texas Tech together?
They were all in Texas. So Texas Longhorns they played for. Yeah. And then, out of all three, like Mike would have games where he dropped like 81 points and like insane Eastern Conference, type of games. Like it's legendary. Anyways, I think he went to go work out. Tristan had made it to the NBA. He went to go work out with Tristan, obviously. And at that time, the NCAA was so different. You couldn't take flights from people, so he ended up getting suspended. And it totally...
Because he took a flight from someone.
Yeah. And, Rich Paul was representing Tristan and Corey at the time. So again, black man representing these athletes, it's like the double whammy, right? How dare. And it totally changed the trajectory of Mike's career and arguably his life, right? He didn't make it as far in the NBA as Tristan or Corey and all those things, but I think...
Did he make it to the NBA?
No, he was there. I think he did some work with the Spurs, but we never saw... He did G League stuff as well with Raptors 905. And he's doing some incredible things, coaching and all of these things right now. But I think why that's my favorite interview ever is one, we were able to, I think, get really real about what does it mean to make it? And especially as a man, what does it mean to make it as an athlete as well, right? When you make it to the NBA, does that mean that you really made it? Or can we maybe look at it as you ended up taking your career all around the world? He played everywhere around the world, and he was able to have camps for young kids to come and learn and hone their skills. To me, that sounds like really making it. Your talent, regardless of where you landed, took you around the world. And so to me, it's I love conversations that can help challenge what we consider as the ultimate pinnacle. What is it? We work in sports, but what does it truly mean to win? And I think it was probably my favorite because I know all this about him and I've known him for so long that it was nice to just see him kind of breathe,
Yeah.
And really consider new things for himself and realizations. And, he was able to share that he almost took his life just kind of going through the motions of the highs and lows. This game gives you a lot, but the game also takes a lot from you. And I think that probably to have a healing conversation like that will always go down as one of my most special.
That's amazing. Are you familiar with Denim Brown?
Yeah.
Any chance?
Yeah.
So I used to, when I was trying to break into the industry, I worked with Hoop Club with Dwayne Watson.
Yeah.
And they had Denim Brown come speak, and it was a similar.
Yeah.
It was a similar story. He got drafted to Seattle SuperSonics. It was either the same draft year of Brandon Roy or Andrea Bargnani.
Yeah.
But high is high. He has a record 120 points in high school. Was drafted high, and I remember he told a story just eerily similar to this, where he was getting a massage, and Ray Allen went up to him and said, "Hey man, are you gonna come back and practice with us?" He's like, "Practice?" He's like, "I'm good."
Yeah.
And for the rest of the time there, he Ray Allen was about offering himself to put him under his wing. He said that was the moment my life changed forever. He never spoke to him. He never passed him the ball during games.
Ray Allen?
No, Ray Allen never passed to Denim Brown, and then Denim Brown. G League, and he's done.
Yeah. And
he was supposed to be one of the best
moments.
Canadians ever. He was incredible. He was a dog in high school. And so, anyways, sorry, you just reminded me of just the peaks, the valleys, the
and
reality of it.
I think we don't live, I think as humans, we don't allow ourselves space to live in the valleys. Because I think if we gave ourselves some room to live in the valleys, there's such gems that are found there. And maybe great questions that we can start asking ourselves as people. And again, it's I work in sports. So it's did you win or did you lose? Literally, that's my night. Did you win? Did you lose? Did you win the championship? No. If you didn't win the championship, it's a fail. But I do think that humans are so much more complex than that. Programs are more complex than that. And if we lived in what did you learn as opposed to the did you lose, we might have some more powerful things.
Well, I think as a society, we've set ourselves up where we don't see the losses at all.
Yeah.
Even on social media, when you hear people talk
so
about
scared.
the challenges, they're talking about the challenges already having come out on the other side. So people that we consider really inspirational on social media, they're talking about their inspiration already having coming out the other side.
Yeah.
And even with like, it's the same with everything. It's the same with like artists.
Yeah.
We only ever see successful artists. Nobody talks about like the struggling actor, that hasn't made it yet to Hollywood. Nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
We just want to see Brad Pitt
at the end
on the red carpet or whatever. That's all people care about. Same with sports. We don't really talk about like the dark side, the losses, the valleys. And I think so society is set up that way. Even your average person, you go on your Instagram feed and it's just like
highlights.
The best moments of everybody's life. Like maybe there are people posting about something shitty that happened to them, but like nobody's really giving those attention.
Yeah.
And then you've got the opposite end of the spectrum on the news, where we only talk about everything bad on the news. Like only the devastating stuff, like the bad news. Nobody talks about like, I don't know, the man who saved
mundane moments. Yeah.
a cat from a tree. I don't know, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like
social
nobody talks about that.
Social media is everybody's
So
greatest
extreme.
hits. It's perpetuating an image that like you think people will resonate with. But what's funny is that I have seen people of recent who have shared endearing and vulnerable stories on their social media, and people are aching for those human connections, those moments,
We
right?
don't want chat GPT.
And so what
we
I
want
want,
connection. That's what we see. We want.
and what I wonder, it's a good segue. That gap exists, that valley exists. Is that why the shift exists?
Woo! Well, there it is. Yes,
Dropping bars.
that's exactly what it is. To me, the shift came out of a conversation. Obviously, we look back to 2020 when we were having a lot of conversations, and I think to me the shift just shows what I've always been about, which has just been living in that in between and living in those real moments. And, I looked at the landscape and I was like, there's nothing like this. We're not talking about certain stories that come from diverse backgrounds that I feel need to be highlighted. And I think at the time everyone thought, okay, well, we're just going to be talking about the trauma-filled stories and this, that. And I'm like, no. We could talk about that stuff and hold space for that stuff in a safe way. But what we're also going to talk about is contribution, diverse contribution to sport and sport landscape and culture in this country. And I started just like writing, what do I want it to look like? Napkin. What I want it to feel like. 106 in Park, napkin. Like just literally like writing things down of like, okay, what do I want this show to look like, feel like, what show did I want to watch coming up, as opposed to like illegally streaming all of ESPN's shows when I was growing up. And something like that formed what the show was in the shift. And, I brought it to TSN's brand partnerships. I'm just like, hey, I think I have something here. And I'm so grateful to them because they were able to get it across the line and get sponsorship for it. And a lot of people, I'll tell you, were just like, what the hell is this going to be? They thought it was like that token kind of show of like, see, look, she just capitalizing on the times and this and that. And one, I wanted it to be mostly digital because I felt like that's access. And I wanted it to be a show that really highlighted the importance of accessibility, and especially for people of color, because that I think is what has kept this barrier in sport of like what they were watching and what they were actually seeing on television. And then I also wanted it to be intersectional. I wanted it to be sport and culture. And I feel like a lot of women in sports exemplify that they can be all these different things. And so it wasn't that I wanted it to be a show strictly on women in sports. It just so happened that it just really aligned with what I wanted the show to all encompass. And, those are two things. Back then when I launched it and people were like, women in sports, they're not going to care. All digital, not gonna watch. And we're still standing and we're still here. And now I'm just like proud, like the sponsors that have come on, the interviews that we've been able to have, and the conversations we've been able to have. I don't think that there is a show like ours in the market, period, that talks about the things that we talk about, that cares about the things that we talk about. And I will say, like, if you are someone that follows the shift and you care, like you really care. And I'm so proud that I've been able to, through the help of this amazing team that I have too, cultivate a community that gives but also feels seen. I think that was like the ultimate goal with the shift. And the name, honestly, was we were going to go with like the gray zone, I think, at one point. And then it was like during COVID. So we're like, let's not do that. But when I think of like just landing at the shift, I think the shift truly is a shift in the industry, and also a shift in like how we perceive an audience and what they care about and how hard they'll go for something if they truly care for it too. So I'm just really proud of what we were able to build.
Did you ever think about going stateside? Is that something that you
That's
ever
a great question.
thought about going to? Because you mentioned ESPN and like, you know, in my industry too, like I grew up obviously, you know, thinking about Hollywood and the States a lot. I know it's similar for sports.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think because it was all that I would stream, like I needed to see people that look like me. So that's why I was illegally streaming ESPN. You know, stateside was something when I was younger. I was like, oh, that could be an ultimate goal. And then I think that I got really clear about why that has always been a long-lasting problem for people in this city or country in general. And I think our issue is we love to fight for the validation of people south of the border that truly don't give a fuck about us. Sorry, I don't mean to swear. But like, I just feel like it's like this weird thing that like we always feel like we have to get stateside validation to prove that we're solid up here. And we're not the only ones, by the way. Like I talk about this with people that are from the UK and all of these things. And I think as you kind of go on and you grow, you're like, well, why? Like, and that's with respect. I have so many friends that, you know, do what I do in the States, but like, I can confidently say that not many of my friends that are based in the States can say that they sideline report for the Toronto Raptors, EP their own show, host sport. Like, I do a lot of things. And I think that's the beauty of people that are from this country and from this city specifically, is we are masters of a lot of things. And I think sometimes I'm like, I wish that we could just like hold up a mirror to our city to see just how dope we are on our own and how much we don't need the validation of people that couldn't even name like any of the 10 provinces and like, you know what I mean? Like, why? We're dope on our own. And I think obviously infrastructure is like a huge thing. And I liken that to like music and all those things. It's like, listen, if the opportunity calls for me to go do what I do in the States, sure. But I'm not here to compromise my integrity and who I am and what I'm doing to what? Like, for what? I'm dope on my own.
It sounds like you're saying you never like saw a need to go pursue that.
No, I think like when I was younger, sure. But I think I had to really question, well, why? Why do you feel like you need to go to the States? And I think the truth of it was to get validated. That's the truth, to feel like I could get a sense of validation. And then why do you feel like you get a sense of validation? You keep asking yourself those questions. You're already in it. You're already doing this. I'm national every single night. Mm-hmm. I'm not fighting for national platform. I'm on a national network every single night. Raptors is national coverage. And again, like I'm not saying I would never, but it has to make sense. I think that people jump into opportunities and they're not clear about the real intention behind it. Like I'm very clear on like what I'm trying to do, my purpose. And the minute I feel like something's taking me out of that purpose, or the minute I feel like something's taking me to a space where it's more superficial as opposed to like deeper and aligned with like what I'm here to do, it's a no for me. There is nothing in this world I'm going to compromise my integrity for.
Yeah, it seems like you've like adopted first principles thinking and like everything you do.
Yeah,
like
you have to.
Getting down to like the raw constituents of like why you do what you do, why do you want to do what you do.
Yeah. You have to. I feel so bad for like young journalists or like aspiring people that want to be in the space that are like, that want to sit down and have a coffee with me, because we don't even talk about sports at all. Why are you here? Are you clear on why you're here? What is it that you want to do? What do you want to leave this earth having done? You have to ask yourself if you want to be in because I always tell people, I'm like, the NBA is a cool place, but the NBA is not a real place. Okay. There's a lot of money and ego and all these things. And it's just like oversaturation of personality and all of these things. Make sure you're real when you show up at the table. And that's in all spaces and all fields, as you know, as well. Like you just have to make sure that what you're coming into anything with stands on something. And I feel like too often we're seeing people that don't stand on anything, and that's why they're so able to shape shift and they want to do this one day and now they're over here and they're rebranding. I never will have to rebrand. I might change my mind on some things because yes, I'm a human, but I came in with something real and I'm going to stay here with something real. And if this all goes away, guess what? I'm still me and I still stand with the questions that I've asked myself and the ones that I feel like I'm living those answers to.
It feels like a lot of this is built on the foundation of purpose.
Yeah.
The foundation of authenticity. And that's lended itself well into you being just an incredible storyteller. What do you think are additional key ingredients needed to be a great storyteller, great interviewer?
The hardest thing for everyone is to be a good listener. I was really bad at it at first, like very bad at it. And I think I was so in my head because I wanted to sound so smart and I wanted to riff off all these stats so that the person across from me knew. And then you just get to a point, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm so happy for you. You came to the table with 3 questions you wanted to ask and you got all 3 of those questions out. But such and such said something just now about someone pulling him to the side and having a real conversation with him. And you didn't even follow up on what that conversation was or who that person was because you were so in your head on the next. And again, like, not to get deep here, but it's really the best way to listen is to honor presence and to be present in a moment and to not get so far ahead of it or to not get so behind it. It's truly listening is the best way I think that you can form the next questions that you have. Obviously being prepared, standing in your purpose, understanding the moment too. I think when you travel with a team, you got to know when you can and can't. Not every moment that you have to sit down with someone is going to be your Barbara Walters moment. Sometimes it's going to be like a quick, all right, cool. Or like, okay, I understand that today's not the day. And, it's about banter and rapport. And I think what I try to do is build a level of trust. I'm not here to sewer you and I'm not here to build up my status off making you look crazy. And I want to honor you and I want to honor your space because some guys, they like the fame of it all, but there's truly just some guys in it that are just here to hoop.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, there's just truly some guys here that are just like, listen, like,
just
this
hardwood lifers. That's
like,
it.
I haven't had my hair cut in weeks, sis. Like, I'm just here, like OG. I'm just here to hoop. Like,
really? I think OG, doesn't OG seem like he likes the media just a little bit? Like, he leans into that.
I think he's probably one of my favorite humans, honestly. He is very similar to Kawhi personality-wise in ways where it's like they are very literal. So like make sure you have a good question because they're listening to that question. And I think that that's something that people don't give them credit for is like, yeah, the answer might be short or the answer might be direct. Like if you're like, oh, what are you doing after this? I'm going to go get food or whatever. They definitely did listen to your question.
Yeah,
so, I don't know what the problem is.
Kawhi's the funniest.
Yeah,
man.
but Kawhi reminds me of Pop in many ways is ask a stupid question, you don't get a stupid answer. Ask a smart question, you're going to get a smart answer. I don't think there's been a time that I've like looked back and be like, God damn, I got burned on that question. No, like again, it's just like knowing who you're talking to and knowing who will play. Like there's some, players that I'm just like, okay, I can just say one thing and you're going to take it and your personality is going to like run. But yeah, I think I always say this, and I love young journalists that come in that have like worked in clubs or restaurants before because they know how to read people. You got to know how to like be aware of the moment and like read people and what they need and what they don't need because I feel like that helps you form like how you approach certain situations.
What was the championship team energy like? Like, did you, being so close to the guys, did you feel... And this is a retrospective question, so you might give a retrospective answer. But did you feel like, this feels like a championship team? Because you're big on energy. Mm-hmm. So did you like this feels like a championship team, or was it kind of like I don't know, this is so new, like Kawhi just got here?
No, I felt from I want to say maybe like 3 months of Kawhi getting there, like you just knew. Like it was, the energy just changed. People were like, I think a little bit more like serious about like, you just knew. And then you can also tell like in the regular season, like when guys are like, oh, we got something, like, there's just, I don't know how to explain it. There's just like, oh no, we got something. There's just like this level of like click. And you could just sense that that's what they found amongst each other. And then I think once you get to like, the finals, it was just like, well, why wouldn't they win?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was just more so it. And then also then you look like the year after and it's like, I know there were a lot of guys that came back the next year and were like, no, well, why won't we do it again? They could have, but the bubble and all that fun
Do you
stuff.
think do you think there's anything the Raptors could have done to make Kawhi stay, or do you think he like had already made up his mind?
I think I always say it's like like you go dating someone and they tell you what it is from day one, but then y'all have a great time. Love might have been thrown out there. Y'all live, but at the end of the day, when you're like, okay, like, what are we? But he told you, date one.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay.
You know what I'm saying? You see him, but he told you what it was. So why are we shocked?
He's been out of the game for a while, so I don't know if it's sticking with him.
Yeah,
but he told you what it was. No, I mean, listen, like I don't know if you go back to Kawhi and he says, I regret it.
No. Oh yeah, I think.
But again,
I don't know. Yeah,
but
who
again,
knows?
I'm not in Kawhi's mind, and you
Yeah,
also
who
have
knows?
to. You also have to be real about it. What is his ultimate win? Is the win being back with family in a place that's comfortable, getting back fully healthy, feeling in his body again, or is the win, okay, this might be a little uncomfortable. I'm liking the training staff here. I'm liking the program. I'm liking the guys. But I'm not home in the family. Like there's things you have to weigh, right?
Yeah.
Like and he is well within his rights to weigh those options. But it depends what the ultimate win is for him.
I think at the end of the day, man, he's still happy. He gets to hoop. He gets paid for a living. He's with his family.
Yeah, and he's had a tough life, right? Like,
Right.
Of course.
he's
right. His
had a
dad
tough
was killed right in front of him.
His dad or his uncle? I think it was his uncle.
I'm pretty confident it was his dad.
His
As well,
dad?
him and Steph Kerr shared the same exact story.
Yeah.
Steph Kerr?
Steve
Kerr?
Steve Kerr. Yes.
Steve Kerr. Yeah.
Correct.
Oh,
There's
wow.
a fun fact for you.
Yeah, I didn't know that about Steve
all right,
Kerr.
I want to shift it to a little bit lighter topic here about the importance, the growth of women's sports. Yeah. It's been incredible. Like, me and I have been fans since like the W of like Diana Taurasi days. I think she's the GOAT.
Find a better slick back.
Come on. I can't find a better passer, right?
You can't. No.
And we're getting a WNBA team.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we are. Toronto Tempo. We're talking about PWHL Toronto Scepters.
Yes.
We're talking about the growth of the female athletes, the GOAT retiring Christine Sinclair. There's like every single sport.
Yes.
They're like bringing their game, and the creativity of the marketers as well that are going behind it too. Like I want to hear your perspective of somebody who's advocated since day one. That's like finally, like this is happening, right?
No, I think it's like, it's incredible to see. It's kind of like, okay, about time. But this is, again, like me coming at it like with the get off my lawn type of energy. You know what I mean? Like, oh, now y'all want to show up? No, I'm really, really happy and pleased that it's being seen and the values being seen. And just everyone's understanding just what a smart business decision it is to invest in women's sports because of the idea of potential. Like, to me, I'm like, NBA gonna tap out at some point, right? Like, okay, global is the goal, all those things, but just think about where the W is now. They've reached all-time highs in like viewerships, brand partnerships, all of those things. And hello, we haven't even expanded more teams yet. So when you think about potential, like up and up, right? But I also just love the fact that people are brought to the basics of it, which is product. The product is phenomenal and it's been incredible. And, you know, even look at like the national program, basketball program, women's side. You've never, ever had to like entice any of those women to show up and represent their country. They have been committed time and year and Olympic and again. And I think that just speaks to just the grit of women in sports too, is like when they fully go in for something, like they are all in and they are not letting up off of it. And it shows in the product. It shows in the care. It shows in how they advocate. It shows in how they promote the brand as well. It shows in how they'll take it one step further and then come up with Unrivaled, for example, right? Like
by Brianna Stewart.
Yeah, like what Brianna was doing, what Fia was able to do, like the money and the investment they were able to get like in the off season.
And it's more than the dub.
Right. And so, you know, you look at those things and you're like, it could all be that simple, as Lauryn Hill said. Really. But you rather make it hard. And when I say you rather make it hard, I mean people that are just like now you just being a difficult person. You not wanting to invest or care, you just a difficult person, because like the proof truly has been in the pudding all this time. But I'm just so incredibly happy that this moment is here. And it doesn't feel like it's just going to be like a quick, like, okay, guys, we're out. No, it feels like this is like solidified. New seeds have been planted, and it's going to be here for a while. I'm so excited for, like, I was driving, where was I? I think I was like driving on Bay Street or something. I drove by a school, and I'm looking at the basketball court. It's one of the weird things that I do. And it was like full of girls just like playing. And I'm just like, I don't know. I get emotional all the time. I'm like, eyes are filling with tears. And I'm just like, that's it. Is they're going to play. And who knows, maybe I just watched like the next like star of the Toronto Tempo on the just hooping randomly after school, right? Like, and then it's just like you think about the Tempo games that come, and I think back to my grandparents, and I can't wait for like the little girl who says, my grandfather or my mom or my dad and I used to always go to these games, and like I fell in love with sport that way. Like it's those like core memories that I'm so excited get to be built through various ways and through women's sport, because just the confidence that comes as someone that played sports growing up their entire life, like sports literally saved me. Like we talk about best friends, like my best friend and I met at West Scarborough Boys and Girls Club, and all we were doing over there was playing basketball, like to a point where I feel like they had to ban it because we were just asked to play like bump, horse, all these things are just like,
like Mina and I growing up.
Yeah. Like, but it just like the skills that you get from sport, and especially being a young woman in sport, is like you can't quantify it. And even if you don't even go on to be a professional athlete, to be a leader, to be a better partner, a better friend, like those are the things that like excites me the most, of just like what fruit is going to bear from just more investment within the games.
So if you were to approach one of those girls on the court, like not in a creepy way,
I can't do that now.
No, but if you did,
yeah,
knowing everything you've been through, like what's a piece of advice you'd give to one of them who maybe they want to be a next WNBA star or they want to go into sports broadcasting like you?
What's one piece of advice I would give them? It's so hard.
I feel like she gave so many on the podcast.
No. I would give them two pieces of advice. One, don't think about anything too early. Just live your freaking life. Like, especially when you're young. I just think in the context of them being young, like just live your life. Please be young. Because I think when I was younger, I wanted to be an adult too quick. Let me tell you about adulting. As you guys know, it's a fucking scam, okay? Yeah. But two, I think please lean into who you are and who you're becoming. Because when you're so busy trying to be everybody else that you're not, you're missing the beauty of what's growing right there, right? You're missing the garden. You're looking at everybody else's flowers, and you're missing this whole like rainforest with like pink things, and like, you know, you're missing that behind you. And I think when you really lean into like those traits of like, what do I like? What don't I like? What feels good? What doesn't feel good? What am I changing my mind about? What do I know? Like you're kind of becoming your own journalist, and through the answers that you're finding, you're unlocking, okay, well, where am I being directed professionally, personally, financially in some ways? I guess maybe ultimately don't stop being curious about the person that you're becoming.
Damn.
Love it.
That was amazing. I have nothing to follow up on.
And don't fight, please, Lord. Take it from me. Do not fight. Stay in school. I always, whenever teachers are like, yo, do you want to come to school, to like this school and talk to these kids? I'm like, about what? What? You want me to come to school for what?
Hey, what do you want me talking about?
I'm like, what do you want me to tell them to stay in school? They're like, because I didn't. I'd be a liar. No, stay in school. Yeah.
Stay in school.
Please stay in school.
Oh, that's the start of the podcast right there.
Yeah, stay in school.
PSA.
Stay in school. Don't fail English 3 times. You might mess around and become a sports broadcaster.
Oh my God.
Kayla, thanks so much for coming on.
Kayla.
That was
Thanks for having
amazing.
me.
It was an honor, getting to know you and know about your journey. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. And thanks for creating a very safe space for us to just show up as is. I didn't have to give any of my PR answers.
We didn't talk about. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Please subscribe, share, and join the journey of Growth Untold. Don't miss a single nugget. Hit that follow button now on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram.